Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Thank you for coming to tonight's Springfield Municipal Regional Planning Commission meeting, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. Item 1.2, Jerry, if you will call the roll, please.
Bibb.
Here.
Boyd.
Here.
Fouth.
Here.
Gregg.
Here.
Holt. Moreland.
Here.
Schott.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Townsend. We have a quorum.
Item 1.3, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Planning Commission held on March 5th, 2026. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 1.4, public comment. We have one person registered to speak under public comment. I'd ask you to keep your comments to 2 minutes and please speak into the microphone so that we'll be able to hear you. Joe Groves, 7611 Highway 49 East, Springfield, Tennessee. Mr. Groves?
Hello. My name's Joe Groves. I'm 59 years old. I've been a lifelong resident of Robertson County. I'm requesting a zoning and annexation for 3168 Old New Cut Road. This property is the first property after consulting with the personnel in the city. It's the first property outside the city limits on New Cut Road there, and it's adjacent and butts up to all the public services that would be needed. I spoke with the folks there at Water, also in the zoning there in Miss Durham. I've spoke to her, and I would like to keep the area as uniform to the existing zoning R15 as possible with like kind valuations, property type, size of lots, all that. I don't want to go in there and change a bunch of stuff. It's just as it's on the future growth plan of Robertson County also, and so it's not going outside the purview of what the city's got planned going forward. I know there's probably some folks that don't like the growth, don't want the growth, but it's kind of coming no matter what. 82% of people in Davidson County can't afford to buy a home now. $425,000 is the average median home in Robertson County, and that kind of coincides with the recent sales in that area. So as far as the services and all that, it wouldn't be a big jump for the city, and they're open to annexation as far as what I can understand from Mr. Martin. So anything else that I can answer, if you've got any questions for me, I'd be glad to, but I'm just a local retired UPS driver, so.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You good?
2.0, new business. 2.1, discuss and possibly take action on a plan of service for an annexation request for property at 3168 Old New Cut Road. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Durham?
Good evening, Commissioners. This agenda item is going to work a little bit differently than what we've done in the past for annexations. I'll explain as I go through how we're going to go through this, but essentially there will be a public hearing for the plan of services, but I'm going to explain the process first because the code with the state has changed slightly and they want us to do several resolutions and separate the zoning from the annexation request. And so it's going to be done a little bit differently. Items 2.1 and 2.2 are related and are going to be presented together. This is a request for the annexation of approximately 41.2 acres located at 3168 Old New Cut Road, along with a corresponding request to zone the property R15, which is a medium-density residential district. The property is currently located in the county, but is adjacent to the existing city limits and within our adopted urban growth boundary. It consists of two portions, one smaller tract along Old New Cut Road and a larger portion along New Cut Road. The site is currently undeveloped and wooded, and there is a TVA power easement that runs across the property, which will factor into how the site ultimately develops. At this stage, there is no formal subdivision plat or site plan. The request before you tonight is focused on whether this property should be brought into the city and assigned an appropriate zoning designation to allow for future residential development. From a planning standpoint, both the annexation and the requested R15 zoning are consistent with the city's comprehensive growth plan and the future land use map. This area is identified for medium density and also suburban style residential development that the owner's request aligns with that long-term vision. The annexation represents a logical and contiguous extension of the city limits, and the plan of services has been prepared in accordance with state law and outlines how services will be proposed over time. It is important to note that while annexation makes services available, some infrastructure, particularly water, sewer, and electricity, may require additional improvements, and those costs would be the responsibility of the developer at the time of development. Approval of these items does not approve a subdivision, but rather establishes the framework for future development that would come back before this body for review. Staff finds the request to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and supportive of orderly growth, and recommends approval of both the plan of services and the R15 zoning request. Before either of these two items are discussed and voted on, to ensure this annexation is in compliance with current Tennessee code, the agenda includes a public hearing on the plan of services that was developed for this request. To open that public hearing, I ask that you consider the resolution calling for a public hearing on the proposed annexation by owner consent. Upon a roll call adoption of the resolution, the public hearing can be opened. Following the hearing, this commission will then discuss items 2.1 and 2.2, each of which must be voted upon separately. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this request, but suggest that they be held until the public hearing is closed.
Okay. Item 2.1.1, public hearing plan of service for an annexation request for a property at 3168 Old New Cut Road. Do we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution to open the public hearing?
I motion.
Have a motion and a second.
Just a second. I got fouled.
Tony. This time we will open the public hearing. I would ask you when you come to the microphone to state your name and your address, and you will have 2 minutes to state your comments to the commission. If you please come to the microphone.
My name is Dean Darr. I live at 1034 Wakefield Lane, Springfield, Tennessee. Just curious, I'm somewhat new to the area, but it seems like Springfield has a lot of projects on board where there's a lot of residential properties planned already. There's a lot of REIS projects being built, and it seems like the infrastructure is not keeping up with what you guys already have on the board and planned already. So, the growth is going faster than I think the city's keeping up with as far as places to go, as far as good restaurants, the traffic on 431 to get to the 24. It's just getting, I've been here 5 years, and just in the 5 years I've been here, it's gotten a lot worse. So I'm just curious if that's a consideration when you guys consider approving these projects for a lot more houses in the area, about how many you've already approved that are coming already, because I know there's a lot of projects. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Who's next? Please state your name.
Good evening, Larry Fleeman, 7152 New Cut Road. My concern with this would be with the large REIS project that's currently next door to this property is I'd like to see how we handle the plan of services, how we upgrade fire and police protection before we approve any more large developments in this direction. I don't think our current situation will be known until that place comes on order. And with the other, as the other gentleman just said, with the other large developments around the town, I'd hate to see our city take on some property that's currently rural agricultural land and turn it into an R-15 before we even know how well we're gonna handle the other large development right next door. So definitely appreciate y'all's opportunity to consider that and consider the residents in that area, that we don't add any more traffic, any more fire calls, any more challenges until we see how well we're able to handle the growth that's currently happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Donna Riley. I live at 7186 New Cut Road. I come and spoke to this committee back when Lookout Crossing was coming for development. That particular crossing has 570-something residents. From Memorial Boulevard back to where this development is trying to be annexed, there's 897 residents that have been approved. If you need to know what they are, I've got them here. I got them off your tracker. Your Springfield tracker told me what has been approved to be built from Memorial Boulevard, Black Patch, Memorial Boulevard, back to this annexation. That's a lot of homes. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of cars, a lot of services, a lot of schools that's going to have to be renovated, built to handle all this. I understand we need homes. I understand people from Nashville are coming here. But the quality of homes, the quality of people, the things that we're going to have to endure for this, I don't know that this is what we need by annexing this piece of property. Thank you.
Thank you. Who is next? Anyone else? At this time, we will close the public hearing. Item 2.2, correct?
You're still discussing the.
Yeah, okay.
Now you can discuss the whole
Yeah.
thing as a whole, but you will have to vote that each separate.
Correct. So questions for item 2.1. We have questions for Ms. Durham or Mr. Groves, the landowner. Mr. Bibb?
Ms. Durham, on the plan of services, when this is brought before individual utilities to look at, do you normally get comments back regarding the plan of service and as far as availability of what the services are for that particular location?
Comments internally?
From the utility systems for
Yes,
each one, saying to what extent do we
Absolutely.
have the services that will be available to serve this particular tract of land?
So when we get an annexation request, what happens is my office pushes it out, so to speak, to all the departments. Every department has a separate section that they provide feedback on, and they create their own plan of service for the needs of that utility or the needs of that department and how it would come into play at whatever point the subdivision were to be developed. So in terms of fire, for example, because that was brought up, the fire department had a comment, and their comment was they understand that it says part of the area is outside the 1.5-mile engine company response area. It's recognized the location where it's at in relation to existing fire services. Part of the plan of service also goes into the idea that the comprehensive growth plan and the urban growth boundary, the services and the utilities available, all of that was analyzed in conjunction with that plan being adopted. So the properties that are within the urban growth boundary, to some extent, were analyzed when the plan was adopted. Not on a case-by-case basis, so to speak, but as an overall big picture. What could the city do at some point in the future? And I'm sorry, Virginia, yes, ma'am?
On the comprehensive growth plan, you said the plan of services was included in that.
Not on a case-by-case basis, but looking at where the city could grow as a whole and where potential future infrastructure could be built. But the infrastructure that's needed to service this particular development, while it may not be available on the property right now, can be brought to the property because it is contiguous with city property, and the costs incurred to do that will be on the developer. The city does not incur those costs to extend the utilities.
Yeah, so I think it would be helpful for everyone here who has brought in their concerns. A lot of mine were similar in the past until I understood how the growth plan, how the tracker works, and what we're looking at as far as developments go, and also how your comprehensive growth plan comes together, right? It's not merely that you had a group of people in one room say, hey, this is what we want to see for Springfield, right? So maybe you can talk a little bit more about what exactly that means when you say plan of services are more or less forecasted or prepared, right? If you're going to grow this
Yes.
much, what kind of buy-in do you have from your different utilities saying, okay, eventually within that 20-year period of the growth plan, we believe that we can sustain this?
I'll speak to water and sewer. I'll start with that.
Okay.
There are many areas within the urban growth boundaries where right now today, they can't be serviced with sewer, potentially not with water. There is a wastewater treatment plant being constructed currently. When that is done, it will increase the capacity for the entire city. That does not mean, though, that the lines exist right now to service every property, but there are ways to make the infrastructure work from an engineering standpoint, to bring more properties online, so to speak, but the capacity will be there 5 years from now when that facility is complete, 3 years from now, however long it takes to complete that facility. There are plans to build an additional fire station right now. So improving infrastructure in terms of water facilities, sewer facilities, fire protection, those things are happening currently. Electricity, that one is not an issue. The electric company can bring poles. We don't have any concerns in that area. Things with stormwater management, that always goes on the developer to take care of. Trash service, police service, all of those services will need to be extended and additional staff will be hired as we have more residents. But additional taxes that are brought in from additional housing covers some of that. So yes.
Maybe we can you speak a little bit about system development charges at least? Because I feel some of our community here might be, be able to get some peace of mind knowing what that
Right.
is.
I am by no means the expert of that. Mr. Brewer may be better versed to speak to that.
David, would you like to
Mr.
speak to
Brewer,
that?
Would you come to the microphone, please?
Do you want to explain how the system development charges?
No.
Presently, the city of Springfield collects system development charges at the building permit stage. So, we have non-utility, which represents public or government buildings, fire infrastructure, police infrastructure, park infrastructure, and transportation infrastructure. And those are distributed between commercial and residential at a rate of 67% of those system development charges are collected on residential development, and the other 33% are collected on commercial, industrial, institutional, those types of development. So we have a non-utility or also a utility system development charge that only applies to water and wastewater. And those are based on the meter sizes, most common meter size being 3/4 inch. And so for a single-family residence in the city of Springfield, we collect a $9,968 system development charge that goes into escrow accounts to be used for new infrastructure within the city of Springfield. Once again, for government buildings, fire, police, parks, and transportation, and then water and wastewater. And we have a 7-year period to spend those funds, and we do not have any problem spending those funds. requirements.
Follow-up question.
Yes, ma'am.
So earlier Carolyn mentioned these infrastructure expenses are on the developer. Is it the same as this system
No.
development, or would that be different?
That would be different. That would be off-site improvements like road width expansion, interceptors needing to be enlarged. The on-site would be paid for by the developer, and if they have to get off-site to attach to sanitary sewer or attach to water, then they would have to pay for those improvements. Water and wastewater utility is the most costly that any municipality spends. The city of Springfield is fortunate in the fact that we have our own electric department and our own gas department and our own stormwater management utilities as well. So we're one of the few that actually have all the utilities in place. So we plan accordingly, we plan for growth, and we plan to make sure that we meet all the needs of the existing customers first.
David, you mentioned that the system development charges are collected upon permits, right?
Yes, building permits.
So explain where that would be in this process, because right now we're very, very early.
Yes. So at this point in the process, we will not collect fees, but we plan to collect fees. We plan to have improvement in infrastructure based on this development. They have to meet that plan of service that they've agreed to, which is costs that they will have to pay for this, the developer will have to pay for this annexation in the future. There will be a preliminary plat process where they will submit a plat, submit construction plans that will allow you guys to make an informed decision on how many houses, lots will be allowed in that subdivision, what they can and cannot do, because previously mentioned, there is a TVA easement cutting through that property, so you can't build in that easement. So, an engineer and a surveyor will have to get together and determine the best layout and the best number of lots. After the developer puts in the infrastructure for their development, and that would include water, wastewater, roads, sidewalks, then we will bond it, record it, and then when it's recorded, it's ready to get building permits, and then they will come and, based on the cost of the house, they will pay an appropriate building permit fee to the city. They will have also paid an adequate facilities tax to the county, and then they will also pay that $9,968 fee for the single-family residence.
Per house.
Per house.
In the subdivision.
In the subdivision.
Okay, so it sounds like when we go through this process of development, the infrastructure is proactive.
Yes.
Not reactive.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to do. That's why we established, the city established the system development charges, so that we can use that money to address future growth needs. And so the growth will not be on the existing taxpayers. The growth for water, wastewater will not be on the existing ratepayer.
Thank you, David.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
further questions for Mr. Brewer while he is at the microphone?
Yes.
Mr. Beal.
Mr. Brewer, tell me, how would the effect if, for whatever reason, because of the power line issue and maybe some other things that may have not cropped up yet on this particular piece of property, that the plan of the applicant changes and goes from being a subdivided into a small lot, R15 type situation, to maybe larger lots? How does that affect the plan of service?
Well, the plan of service is based on what we've been able to calculate as the maximum density requirements. So if they go to larger lots, the density will decrease. So there will be a surplus of what's available for the rest of the city. If, it can't increase too much because R15 has a very restricted conditional use for multi-residential.
So if it goes through the rezoning process, then that would eliminate the possibility unless they came back and changed the zoning once again.
Rezoned it to a higher density, but I believe that this is medium density. So our comprehensive growth plan says medium density, which is R15, R20. Higher densities would be MRO, R7, R10. So R15 is probably the most dense development that this property will ever see.
Any further questions for Mr. Brewer?
One more.
Yes, sir.
David, I know Station 3 is in the works. How long, and I know we're supposed to look at something next month, but is that close?
The review is close. We, have every intention of being under construction, hopefully by fall of this year. We're getting to design development on the 9th of April. Those plans will be submitted to the construction manager at risk for their review and for their initial estimate. We will narrow that down, we will fine tune those plans, and then they will, by the end of April or middle of May, by the middle of May, they will give us a guaranteed maximum price. So we, like I said, we are rapidly getting to a point where we would be able to start construction on that.
So that should be in place prior to this property doing anything other than being annexed.
That is correct. So, the fire station number 3 will address growth at Magnolia Farms, growth at Lookout Crossing, growth at Summit View, growth at Blackwood subdivision. All of those are being in that general vicinity. Also, we're looking at it being also able to look at the growth for that SP plan, Vesper Village as well. So that station, and it's in the 9,000 plus square feet. It'll have an engine, a ladder, and a couple of engine companies. So, it'll be, and we've already got the equipment to put in the station.
Right.
We'll soon have the firefighters to put in the station. We've planned accordingly.
All right, any other questions?
Oh, so, Ms. Durham?
Ms. Durham.
What was the response time again on that fire? That you gave a response time that you had received from the
I
fire
think it was
department?
distance, not response time.
Oh, it's not a specific response time, it's their ISO rating and how it can be impacted by how far away the fire station is. But as Mr. Brewer just explained, when Fire Station 3 comes online in roughly a year and a half or so, there will be a station much closer to this portion of town, which will service the developments that are happening on the south side.
Any further questions?
One more question. Did I hear you say that we're just trying to annex this property in just to have no future plans, no
Right.
immediate
That's
plans?
Right now, the applicant has not made a request in terms of the exact number of units. They've not provided a site plan. They are just requesting annexation for a potential future development.
Which could,
And when they came into my office and met about this initially, we talked about appropriate zonings based on the comprehensive plan and agreed that R15 made the most sense with the surrounding land uses and what that plan for the city's growth identified.
so it could probably be 10, 15 years before,
Who knows?
It could be 5 years, it could be 25 years. That's
Or it could be 3 months.
potentially they could, if it were to be rezoned and annexed, we could see a plan submitted in 2 months. That could happen. It typically takes a little bit longer,
Well, I
but
mean,
yeah.
not the physical plan, but they could.
But R15 zoning would give them not quite 3 units to the acre, so 41 acres. I would be really surprised, given the TVA easement and the configuration of the triangular property on the northwest corner. 4 times 3, 100, if there was even anywhere close to 120. But 120 homes would be about the max density based on the R15 zoning. And that's just the quick math. I haven't seen a site plan. And that would, I would find that hard to believe that they would be able to max that out, given the site constraints.
Any more questions for 2.1? You will have another opportunity at the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting to speak during public comment.
So we're gonna take these separately?
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
remind you, you have to do them separately.
Separately.
2.1 is just the plan of service and the annexation recommendation. 2.2 is the zoning. They're being treated separately.
So the item on the floor is 2.1.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the plan of service based upon the urban growth plan that it adheres to. This is part of the planning process. This is what we do. And we look at it from a long-range plan. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's going to happen anytime soon, doesn't mean it's going to happen at all.
Right.
But based upon our urban growth boundary, our long-range plan that we adopted, it fits what were set up to do, and I'm making a motion that we approve.
Second.
All right. Jerry, if you will call the roll.
Thomas,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Val,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Moreland,
Yes.
Holt. Motion passes 8-0.
Item 2.2, discuss and possibly take action on a zoning request to R15 for property at 3168 Old New Cut Road. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions for Ms. Durham on
Just on the zoning.
the zoning?
Did you say that R15s, the maximum houses be like 120?
Based on the rough math of a 15,000 square foot lot, there being 43,560 square feet in an acre, and the acreage of the property. So
But
roughly.
that doesn't take into consideration of your TVA easements and things like that. So that's just a
Typi-
rough math on her part.
Yeah, and that's the maximum. Typically, most developers go more 80% of the property in terms of what their density would be. You would use 80% of the total acreage. So, but yes, 120 approximately, based on an R15 and the given acreage of the property. And those would be 15,000 square foot lots. That's what the R15 does. So a little bit bigger than what you're seeing on some of the adjacent properties. Recently, adjacent properties.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Jerry, if you would call the roll.
Moreland,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Holt, Gregg,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Val.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 2.3, discuss and possibly take action on request for approval and acceptance of a performance bond renewal and reduction for Summit View Phase 1. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Durham?
Item 2.3 is a request for approval of a performance bond renewal and reduction for Summit View Phase 1. The developer has completed a portion of the required infrastructure, and the requested reduction reflects the work that has been satisfactorily completed and inspected. The remaining bond amount would continue to guarantee completion of the outstanding improvements. Staff has reviewed the request and finds the reduction to be appropriate and recommends approval. Happy to answer any questions you might have about this bond.
Move to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. We're ready for a vote.
Bibb,
Yes.
Moreland,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Faust,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Townsend.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 2.4, discuss and possibly take action on a request for an approval of the amended final master development plan for Summit View. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Schott and Ms. Moreland. Ms. Durham?
Item 2.4 is a request to approve an amended final master development plan for Summit View. The amendment reflects updates to the overall layout and development to incorporate the area dedicated to Phase 2. Staff has reviewed the plan and finds that it remains consistent with the recently approved amended preliminary master development plan. Staff recommends approval of the amended final master development plan with the condition that all staff comments are adequately addressed. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Durham on 2.4?
I do.
Ms. Moreland?
Are there any comments as of now
Yes.
from staff? Okay.
Yes, when
what
I
would
checked
those
it
be?
today, and I've outlined them on here, because of the way this project has been developed, the majority of Phase 1 is built out at this point, minus the townhome section. But the majority of single-family lots have been built out. It's been platted. So I've asked that we have all of the parcel information added, because there are a number of different parcel numbers associated with the project now. So that's one comment that still remains. Some notes about the landscaping plan. Those are minor, just changing some verbiage. There was a note from one of the departments to label the contours. Those are the topographic elevations. They wanted the actual numbers on there. And then there has been a little bit of shift in how the Phase 2 is going to be sewered and where some of the lateral should go. So they're really minor comments that will be able to be addressed pretty quickly and easily. But to say that it is fully approved, I can't say that it's fully approved yet. But we are asking for approval based on all of those things being adequately addressed.
Any other questions for Ms. Durham on item 2.4?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve based on comments being addressed by the above changes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Moreland. Jerry, we are ready for a vote.
Schott,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Boyd,
Oh.
There you go.
Yes. That doesn't sound right, but.
Moreland,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Gregg,
Abstain.
Will you state your reason?
Owner.
Faust,
Yes.
Townsend.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 with one abstention.
Item 2.5, discuss and possibly take action on a request for approval of the Summit View Phase 2 preliminary plat. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Durham?
Item 2.5 is a request for approval of the Summit View Phase 2 preliminary plat. This plat is consistent with the amended final master development plan, which incorporates Phase 2 into the overall layout and aligns with the preliminary master development plan previously approved by this commission. The preliminary plat outlines the proposed layout of lots, streets, and infrastructure for this phase. Staff has reviewed the submittal and finds it meets the applicable subdivision requirements. There's a small change from how it was in your staff packet. Staff recommends approval, but we're recommending approval contingent upon the final approval of the amended final master development plan. So because there's still those few outstanding comments on the final master development plan, this technically would follow after the approval of that. Staff has no more comments. Staff is happy with the plat the way it is. There's nothing left to address. So from that standpoint, we're ready for your acceptance and approval. However, we need that final master development plan to be approved before this one can be, if that makes sense. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Durham?
So what if we wait a month?
I mean, that's certainly something you can do, but I will tell you, it will not take them a month to get that final master development plan.
So the master development plan is contingent upon the 2.4 that we just went
That
over?
was the one you just voted on. Yes, that
Okay.
has about three or four comments left.
Okay, so this will happen pretty much the same day?
Concurrent. The idea
Like
was that they
concurrent,
were
okay.
concurrent.
Okay.
This one is just an unusual project because of the additional acreage being added in after the fact, and so these overall layouts have to be reapproved. There is no significant change. The final master development plan mirrors what was approved on the preliminary. I don't see that it will take the engineer more than a few days to get those plans addressed.
Okay.
So another month would delay the project, I'll be honest.
I'd make a motion to approve it pending final corrections of the final master development plan.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Tony seconded. We are ready for a vote.
Boyd,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Moreland,
Yes.
Faust,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Gregg,
Abstain.
Bibb,
Yes.
Townsend.
Yes. Is that me?
Motion passes 6-1 with one abstention.
Mr. Gregg, is your extension the same as before?
Owner.
Before.
I just want to make sure that's in the record. Item 2.6, discuss and possibly take action on a request for approval of the Jasper Fields Phase 1 final plat. We have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Ms. Boyd has a second. Ms. Durham?
Item 2.6 is a request for approval of the Jasper Fields Phase 1 final plat. This plat consists of 78 residential lots and represents the first phase of the development for the project. The plat includes the full layout of lots, streets, and associated infrastructure. The homeowners association documents have been reviewed and approved by staff. They were shared with this commission and have been recorded. The copy that you have is the recorded copy. Staff has reviewed the final plat and finds that it generally meets the requirements of the subdivision regulations with a few outstanding items that will still need to be addressed. Even with approval, however, the plat will not be recorded until all required infrastructure has been installed and accepted by the city or an appropriate performance bond has been submitted and approved. Staff recommends approval of the final plat, subject to all staff comments being adequately addressed. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have one question. Where is the phase line? I saw it as a
Okay.
note and I was just trying to look.
So I will, it's kind of hard to see it on this one, but I can make that as well. If you look at we added a new plan the other day, so I don't know that it got sent back out. On this one right here, the ones that have the lot numbers on them are in phase 1. The developer has brought a colored version in the sense that it is outlined. Who asked?
Mr. Faust?
I was just curious.
Yes, that was a comment originally that we asked that it be made more clear where that phase line was. That was one of the outstanding comments. I believe that one was addressed with the plan that was more recently submitted.
Oh, I got you. It's a thick line.
Yeah. So after submitting that, there were still a couple of surveying issues that needed to be resolved. Some typos, essentially some wrong names on things that matched the previous owner as opposed to the subdivision name since it's been established. And then there was a comment about adding a note about the stormwater facilities and that the HOA will be responsible for those. But again, this cannot be recorded. Building permits can't be issued on this until either a bond is in place, which will come before this board, or somehow they finish all of the infrastructure and get it approved, which is very unlikely.
So what would be the benefit of approving this now if we're still waiting for other stuff?
It's mine.
Yeah, there's,
It's
What was it? Could you
The
repeat that?
deadlines.
They met the deadlines for submittal.
yeah, I mean, that was, that we have for a final plat, there's ongoing, like a monthly planning commission submittal deadline. So
Okay.
when things are brought to me, if I can get them before this board in that time frame, I try to. But because they still have the bond technically, I mean,
Usually you'd prove it like this if it's just minor, like, text or not the fundamental stuff. At least on the other end, we appreciate it, working on the other stuff.
yeah.
Keep it moving
I mean, essentially, that's it, to keep it
For-
moving forward.
for spelling errors or.
Yeah.
misnotes.
There's nothing that,
This one has gotten to the point where there's chances of being any changes are gonna be slim.
yeah, they've got quite a bit of infrastructure in the ground, I believe. It's consistent with the preliminary plat,
If they did change it majorly, they'd come back anyway, right, even if.
absolutely.
You have a question, Ms. Boyd? Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve it pending the final comments and address.
All right, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Jerry?
South,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Moreland.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 2.7, discuss and possibly take action on a request for approval of the Magnolia Farms preliminary plat. Do we have a motion and a second to put this item on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
Ms.
this,
Durham?
this last item on our new business agenda is a request for approval of the Magnolia Farms preliminary plat. This is the first time this layout has been presented to this commission. The request includes the preliminary design of a residential development, including the proposed arrangement of lots' internal roadway networks and overall site layout. The development proposes a mix of residential unit types, including traditional single-family detached homes on individual lots, as well as attached single-family units in a townhouse-style configuration. The property is located within an area designated for residential growth, and the proposed layout is consistent with the city's subdivision regulations. At this stage, the commission is reviewing the general layout and overall compliance with those standards. Staff has reviewed the preliminary plat and finds that it meets the requirements of the subdivision regulations and recommends approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Durham?
Is that Orchid Trail gonna connect into South Haven?
No.
Or is it- okay, it's
Right
just
now, there is no
emergency
plan
or
to
something?
connect into South Haven.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve Magnolia Farms preliminary plat.
We have a motion.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a second. Jerry, we are ready for a vote.
Townsend,
Yes.
South,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes.
Moreland,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Bibb,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Item 3.1, under other business, the Community Development Director's Report. Ms. Durham?
I don't have a whole lot for you this month. I just want to highlight a couple of things. April Board of Zoning Appeals meeting was canceled. At this point, we have not had any submittals for the May meeting. However, that deadline is not until noon this coming Monday. Should there be any submittals, this commission will need to send a representative. The second reading of the ordinance that would allow any planning commission member to serve on the BZA is scheduled for April 21st. Assuming that passes, all current members of this commission would be eligible, and I plan to place a discussion for appointment on the May agenda. Looking ahead, we are expecting submittals for May agenda to include Lookout Crossing Phase 2 preliminary plat, Summit View Phase 2 final plat, and the associated performance bond. There is the fire station number 3 that should be brought before this board, and then a cluster residential development immediately behind the fire station being referred to as South Main Street. Additionally, I'm working on a zoning ordinance amendment related to development and permit fees. We're currently reviewing the fee schedule, comparing it with similar communities, some neighboring communities, because in April of last year, there was a new section of code adopted that requires public documentation, analysis, and justification of any development-related fee in excess of $250. So as part of having to create that justification, we're reviewing all of them to see how consistent we are. The goal is to bring forward any recommended changes at the May meeting so they are in place ahead of this code requirement that goes into effect July 1st. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions about anything. If anybody has anything.
Questions for Ms. Durham? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.